What's going on, my money mavens and moolah misfits? It's me, Joe Wilson of the Joe Knows Money Show. Just wanted to speak with you all today. I just got back from my vacation from Aruba. I'm feeling good, feeling refreshed, pretty much on a vacation high. And so I'm reflecting on my trip to Aruba. And one of the things that I did was I checked out a timeshare when I was in Aruba this go around. And I did it for two reasons, and I want to share with you what I learned from that experience. So the first thing the first reason that I did it is because I wanted to obviously get a discount, right? Whenever you go on these trips, you agree to take a 90-minute tour of the facility in which they try to sell you a timeshare. The other reason why is because I always like to be in the know with what my clients or followers might be experiencing when it comes to going to a timeshare and what they should actually look out for, right? So here's my experience, and hopefully you can get some a little bit of a preview in terms of what you might be able to expect if you elect to do it yourself in order to save some money. So what they do is at the end of your trip, after you have an opportunity to experience the facility, they have you agree to this 90-minute presentation. You go to a certain section of the resort. You're greeted by the first individual. And that first individual will, ask you all the pleasant questions, give you compliments. For example, they'll say to your significant other, "Oh, you just had a kid, so you look great for just having a kid," or "You all look very young and to be this successful," or any kind of flattery. And then they inquire about your situation. Do you have kids? Are you married? What do you do? All in an effort to get to know you, but also to circle back around and use that as ammunition in the sales process. So they also tell you that it will be another one of their colleagues who will join you or join them along the way. Right? So then from the start, you know that there's going to be a person who plays the good cop, if you will, and the other that plays a bad cop or the closer. So that first person walks you through all the wonderful features and benefits that you can get from using a timeshare. So for example, they'll say, or they'll ask you questions: how much do you spend a year now on travel? Right? And then they'll take you down the path of saying, well, where do you like to travel to? What are some of your favorite things to do? And then they'll begin to show you properties that meet that criteria that falls into the family. Like for me, I decided to go with the Marriott timeshare because I felt like I'll get a discount, I'll get the experience, but also they will be less aggressive than others that you might walk into off the street, because they have some skin in the game. I have a Marriott credit card. I travel frequently, so I have points. So I'm a customer, and they don't want to lose me just to try to sell me a timeshare. So they weren't as aggressive as other people, but they were certainly using different sales tips and techniques, right? So once they take you down that path, they ask you to envision, what it is that you and where you and your family would like to go, what it is that you would like to do, and really start crafting that image in your mind. And then they get to the numbers part of it. So that's when the second person comes into play. And they'll say, well, how many points were you thinking about getting? So for example, they'll say you can get 2,000 points that will cover you for 7 days at this resort in Aruba in a particular type of room, and that you can pay $30,000 in order to get this for a lifetime. So the points will always get you 7 days at this particular resort. The kicker is it will not get you the same level, or it's not guaranteed to get you the same level of quality of room at another resort that might be in the family. The other thing that they'll do is they say, well, if you're already spending, let's call it $3,000 a year on family travel, and they're going to charge you $30,000 for this timeshare ownership piece of it, that after 10 years you would have recouped your money. Well, that's not true, right? The reason it's not true is because, yes, it may cost $30,000 in order to purchase this timeshare, but over a course of 10 years, because the interest rate is so high, in this case it was 12.99%, that you will actually pay double. So you'll actually spend about $60,000 over that 10-year period of time if you pay it back over that period. So now your $3,000 a year travel budget, let's call it, which is high, but we're just using that for the example, it will actually take you 20 years to recoup that investment. Okay, and I hesitate to even call it an investment. The reason why is because unlike other property, timeshares almost always will go down in value over time because new timeshares come on the market, which makes the one that you got less valuable. The other thing is, what they don't highlight as well is that there's an annual fee and a maintenance charge that you pay, which in this case would be around $1,200 a year for life. So even if you pay it off, you still have this. So that's the essence of what they try to sell you on. And then they'll try to, what they will also do in order to get you to act that day is they'll say, well, we'll give you a 10% discount right away. And then they anticipate you at least giving one objection. And then the salesperson will say, oh, I forgot you also qualify for this benefit as well, right? And I could be wrong, but having experience in the sales arena, it seems like it was pre-planned, right? Saying, hey, we give you that first discount, the first objection, we'll give you another discount. And then the third objection, what they'll do is say, well, if you pay or make your payments of, let's call it $500 a month for at least 18 months, you'll get another 2,000 points, which then means that you will essentially get a free trip. But the question that I asked them was, well, is this a schedule of repayment, like where essentially what happens is you're paying back a little bit of principal and a little bit of interest over time with each payment, or is it front loaded with interest, right? And what I find out is front loaded with interest. So you pay all the interest first before you pay the $30,000 of principal. So what that essentially means, over 18 months, you would have paid $9,000 worth of interest for them to give you a travel voucher of around $3,000. Remember, they're in business to make money, and they're making money at your expense. So I tell all of this to you all is because if you decide to take up one of the timeshare offers, right, to get away, you spend less money on your travel. Because I think my room for, I believe it was 4 nights, costs about $600 in total at a resort and a beach in Aruba. So that's very, very reasonable. But if you walk away buying a timeshare that gets less valuable with time, you pay double the amount of the purchase price because of the interest rate that you're paying, and you have an ongoing maintenance and annual fee, then it would have been well worth it for the organization to have you out to their resort at a discount price. And it will be very bad for your financial future. So I just want to give you that little bit of tidbit of information. If you have any questions, leave them below. I promise I will respond to them, because I didn't answer everything or give you the entire picture just due to the amount of time and the length of this video and the things that I remember. But as you start asking questions, I'm sure more of the experience will come to me, and I can share with you how I reacted to that. Oh, one additional thing is that what they'll ask you is, towards the end, as you're giving objections, is like, well, what are the things that you are going to think about? Or if you did do this, or, how would that work? And my response to the individual is, with all due respect, I'm here with my spouse, and I don't want to, talk with her in front of an audience about, decisions that are made in the household. But I will be happy to look the information over. I do understand I'm giving up this 10% discount up front. I do understand the additional discount I'll be missing out on because you are trying to sweeten the pot for me to act today. But I'm fully aware of that. And the gentleman said to me, he said, well, honestly, for every person who told me that, if they did come back, because they often don't, I wouldn't be sitting in the position that I'm sitting in now. Essentially, he was saying most people don't come back once they leave. And I think that's a very telling sign, because if it is something that is very attractive And after you had a chance to go home, crunch the numbers, talk with your spouse about it, see how your vacation plans might pan out over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, then you can make an informed decision. And if it was in your best interest, they would have a lot more people going back a day after, a week after, a year after to take advantage of it. And they might have been kicking themselves around the fact that they missed out on a 10% discount. But his mere statement tells you that once people have a chance to leave the resort and, that kind of vacation vibe where it's, well, this would be cool, and get to crunch the numbers, that they make rational decisions that do not include buying timeshares. So just think about that. I give the example of being there with your spouse. You actually don't have to be. You can be there as a single individual as well. But that doesn't change the ultimate outcome, is that timeshares are almost always not in your best interest.